Shalom. Hope you're doing very, very well. I'd like us to talk about idols, if we may. Idolatry. Something our Messiah talks about briefly in chapter 6 of Matthew on his Sermon on the Mount. But I'd like us to open it up, expound upon this topic quite a bit. Idols can come in various formats, right? There's many carved pieces of wood. There's many facets of the mind that could be a distraction to our priorities in life via the Most High. Many things. So don't go anywhere, because it's going to get thick. All right? And I hope you're doing very well. I hope the Most High is with you and the Ruach is guiding you, and may everything be beautiful in its own time. Chapter 6, as our Messiah speaks. No one is able to serve two masters, for either he shall hate the one and love the other, or else he shall cleave to one and despise the other. You are not able to serve Elohim and Mammon. We're going to get into Mammon here in a second, okay? Because of this, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you shall eat, or what you shall drink, or about your body, what you shall put on. Is not life more than the food, and the body more than the clothing? But seek first the reign of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these shall be added to you. Do not then worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow shall have its own worries. Each day has enough evil of itself, he says. So, Mammon. What is Mammon? Well, Mammon could be a form of currency. What is this, right? What is this that our world has been so stressed about? Well, it says that money is what makes the world go round. And on it, especially ours, here in America, the United States, our form of currency has this lovely little phrase stamped into it. In God we trust, it says. Well, that's a lovely phrase, right? What's wrong with that? Well, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But let me ask you this. Why would the Most High put such a title on such a device that could be such a distraction to the reign of Elohim? It's a question. Take it to the Most High, right? I'm going to say that in God we trust is not actually the Most High. Think of it this way. It's been stated that somebody typed into an AI program, if you were Satan, what would you do to get people to worship you? And the AI program spit back out to him, if I was Satan, I would not get people to worship me, but I would put something into the people's hands to make them distracted to not worship the Most High. And there's various formats of this called idolatry. In today's world. And I'm going to bump into some scriptures and Apocrypha that's going to expound upon that whole theory that I'm driving. So, again, the devil took him up on a very high mountain and showed him all the reigns of the world and their esteem, and said to him, all these I shall give to you, if you fall down and worship me. Then Jasher said to him, go away, Satan, for it has been written, you shall worship Yahweh, your Elohim, and him alone shall you serve. Then the devil left him, and see, messengers of the Most High came and attended to Jasher. Well, that's wonderful. Put up your dukes, right? You shall only have one that you worship, that you attend upon, that you have your sole attention to. And everything else in this world shall be added to you via that devotion. But the Pharisees, having heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, were gathered together, and one of them, one learned in the Torah, did question, trying him, and saying, Teacher, which is the great command in the Torah? And Jasher said to him, you shall love Yahweh, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all of your soul. This is the first and great command. Well, talking about commands, let's jump over to Exodus. Shemoth. Exodus 20, verse 3 through 6. For you have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make for yourself a carved image, or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters underneath. You do not bow down to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on their children, and to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me. But I show loving commitment to those, thousands even, who love me and guard my commands. Thou shalt not have any idols. Let's jump over to Isaiah. Everybody loves Isaiah. Our Messiah quoted Isaiah probably the most throughout his entire ministry. Isaiah chapter 44, and get a little bit of a highlight read from the chapter, bits and pieces. Do not fear, nor be afraid. Have I not since made you hear and declared it? You are my witnesses. Is there an Eloah beside me? There is no other rock. I know not one. Those who make an idol, all of them are emptiness, and their delights do not profit. and they are their own witnesses. They neither see nor know, so that they are put to shame. Who would form a mighty one or cast an idol? This is of no value. The carpenter stretches out his rule. He outlines it with chalk. He fashions it with a plane, and he outlines it with a compass and makes it like the figure of a man, according to the comeliness of a man, to remain in the house. Half of it he shall burn in the fire. With this half he eats meat. He roasts a roast and is satisfied. He also warms himself and says, "Ah, I am warm. I have seen the fire." And the rest of it he makes into a mighty one, his carved image. He falls down before it and worships, prays to it, and says, "Deliver me, for you are my mighty one." And no one recalls it to his heart, nor is there knowledge nor understanding to say, "I have burned half of it in the fire, and I have also baked bread on its coals. I have roasted meat and eaten it, and I shall make the rest of it an abomination." Shall I fall down before a log of wood? Remember these matters, O house of Yaakov, Israel. For you are my servant. I have formed you. You are my servant, O Israel. Do not forget me. I shall wipe out your transgressions like a cloud, and your sins like a mist. Return to me and my ways, for I shall redeem you. It's a very telling little scene there, isn't it? Half of this piece of wood he uses for self-satiation, a gift, food, right, from the Most High. And the other half he makes into a foreign mighty one that he does not know, one that gives him zero instruction, one that can provide really nothing. So let's keep on this tangent of carved wood and stone for a second. Can we have a little bit of fun with some Apocrypha? The book of Jasher. The book of Jasher is quoted in various texts of the Old Testament. And I would love to just tell you a couple of stories out of it. And in the 50th year of the life of Abram, son of Terach, Abram came forth from the house of Noah, and went to his father's house. And Abram knew Yahweh, and he went in all his ways and his instructions, the Torah. And Yahweh was with him. And Terach, his father, was in those days still captain of the host of King Nimrod, and he still followed strange Shalom. And Abram said, "As Yahweh lives, these images shall not remain in my father's house. So shall Yahweh, who created me, do unto me if in 3 days' time I do not destroy them all." And Abram asked his father, saying, "Father, tell me, where is Elohim who created heavens and earth, and all the sons of men upon the earth? And who created you and me?" And Terach answered his son Abram and said, "Behold, those who created us are all with us in this house." And Terach brought Abram into the chamber of the inner courts, and Abram saw and beheld, the whole room was full of alihim of wood and stone, which Terach himself had carved. And Terach said to his son, Behold, these are they which made all you see upon the earth, and which created me and you, and all of mankind. And Abram saw on that day, when he was sitting amongst them, that they had no voice, no hearing, no motion, and not one of them could stretch forth out its hand to eat. And in the evening of that day, in that house, Abram was clothed with the Ruach, Alihim. And he called out and said, Woe unto my father and to this wicked generation, whose hearts are all inclined to vanity, who serve these idols of wood and stone, which neither can eat, smell, hear, nor speak, who have mouths without speech, eyes without sight, ears without hearing, hands without feeling, and legs which cannot move. Like them are those that made them, and that trust in them. And when Abram saw all these things, his anger was kindled against his father. And he hastened and took a hatchet in his hand, and came unto the chamber of the Alihim, and he broke all of his father's Alihim, chopped them down to the ground, splinters and all, right? Something that was commanded of Israel after crossing the Jordan, after Moshe died. So let us turn also Abraham's grandson. Now, Yaakov goes up to Haran to obtain wives. Well, a wife, but he ended up with wives. And on his way back, this happens. And Yaakov rose up at that time, and he mounted his children and women, and all belonging to him on camels. And he went forth to go to the land of Canaan, to where his father, Isaac, resided. And Rachel, stole her father's images, and she took them, and she concealed them upon the camel upon which she sat, and she went on. Now, in Haran, they were not commandment keepers. They were idolatrous in their ways of thinking. So these images that she stole from her father were idols. And this is the manner of the images, idols. In taking a man who is the firstborn, and slaying him, and taking the hair off of his head, and taking salt, and salting the head, and anointing it with oil. Then taking a small tablet of copper, or a tablet of gold, and writing the name upon it, and placing the tablet under its tongue, and taking the head of the tablet under the tongue, and putting it in the house, and lighting it up with lights before it, and bowing down to it. Well, that's pretty crazy just in itself, right? You slaughter your firstborn, beheading it, and putting gold pieces with a name written on the gold under the tongue, lighting it up with lights, and bowing down to it. Let's continue. And at the same time, when they bow down to it, it speaks to them in all manners that they ask of it, through the power of the name which is written on it. Now, let's get a little future tense with this. And let's go to these little bad boys. Okay? Now these are used for good, but they're also used a lot for bad. Let's continue with the text. And some of them make them into figures of men, some, of gold and of silver, and go to them in times known to them. And the figures receive the influence of the stars, and tell them future things. I'm going to let your mind wander with that. Okay? And in this manner were the images which Rachel stole from her father, in order that Laban might not know through them where Yaakov had gone. And Laban sought his images to know where Yaakov had gone, and could not find them. And he went to some other images, and he inquired of them. And they told him that Yaakov had fled from him to his fathers into the land of Canaan. It's almost like asking Google, if you will, to track a location. Enough said. Check this out. I know we're going a little bit crazy with the tangent here, but I'll get right back to the study. Right when Laban intersects the travels of Jacob, of Yaakov, he says, "Where are my idols? They're not in my house. You stole them. I need them back." And Yaakov says this, "With whomever you find your mighty ones, do not let him live. In the presence of our brothers, see for yourselves what it is with me, and take it with you. For Yaakov did not know that Rachel had stole them." And Laban went to Yaakov's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the tents of the two female servants, but he did not find them. And he came out of Leah's tent, and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household idols, and put them on the camel's saddle, and sat on them. And Laban searched all around the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father, Laban, "Let it not displease my master that I am unable to rise before you, for I am in the way of women." And he searched, but did not find the house idols. So, glorious the timing was that little incident, right? She could say a word that would persuade her father to be on his way. Genesis 35, Bereshith. And Elohim said to Yaakov, "Arise, go up to Beth El, and dwell there." And Yaakov said to his household, and to all who were with him, "Put away the foreign mighty ones that are among you, and cleanse yourselves, and change your garments." And so they gave Yaakov all the foreign mighty ones which were in their hands, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Yaakov dug a hole, buried them, hid them, under a terebinth tree, which was near Shechem. Still, how did Yaakov knew that they had mighty ones with them? Scripture doesn't expound upon this. We know that everyone, having been born of Elohim, does not sin. But the one having been born of Elohim guards himself, and the wicked one does not touch him. See, if you have been born again, you strive to walk in righteousness, which transgression of righteousness is sin. Now all men do fall short, but this is why we have a Messiah who atones for us, gives us grace to rise back up and keep going, right? And we know that the Son of Elohim has come and has given us an understanding so that we might know the true one. And we are in the true one and his Son, Yahushua, Messiah. This is the true Elohim and everlasting life. The both, the one who has the Son has the Father, right? Little children, keep yourselves from idols. Do not transgress the commands. For I do not wish you to be ignorant, brothers, that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and all were immersed, and all ate, and they all drank of the spiritual rock, and that rock was Messiah. However, with most of them Elohim was not pleased, for they were laid low in the wilderness. And these became examples for us so that we should not lust after evil, as those indeed lusted. And do not become idolaters, as some of them were. As it has been written, the people sat down and ate and drank and stood up to play. No trial has overtaken you except such as is common to men. And Elohim is trustworthy, who shall not allow you to be tried beyond what you are able, but with the trial shall also come the way of escape, enabling you to bear it. Therefore, my beloved ones, flee from idolatry. It kind of echoes 1 John a bit, doesn't it? We are to walk in righteousness. We are to accept the Messiah because he does atone and give us grace where we do fall down. But righteousness says no idolatry. When the Messiah, who is our life, is manifested, then you also shall be manifested with him in esteem. Therefore put to death your members which are on the earth, whoring, uncleanness, passions, evil desires, and greed of gain, all of which is idolatry. Let's read that again. Whoring, uncleanness, passion, evil desires, and greed of gain. See, all these things can be distractions. Distractions in your mind from loving the Most High with all of your heart and all of your soul and all of your mind. Right? It's time. Time is of the essence. We only get so much time. If you are not worshiping our Father with your time, what are you doing with your time? Are you being distracted? Are you striving for gain? Because of these, the wrath of Elohim is coming upon the sons of disobedience, in which you also once walked when you lived in them. Folks, it's pretty self-evident in many facets and many different aspects of all the ways of idolatry that it's counted worthless. It gives you nothing. You can give it nothing. It's also stated that these things that are worth nothing, especially if they're physical, can entrap demonic spirits. I'm reminded of the demons that were asked, "Where would you like to go?" And they said, "We want to go into the pigs, the unclean vessels, please." And he cast them in there. And they freely went. Legions, right? Legions of them. So possession's real. And I'd venture to say that they love to be in an idol, being worshipped, counting your worship away from the Most High. It can also extend itself into self-worship, being self-righteous. That can be a distraction to obedience. If we are obedient, what are we obedient to? If we study the Torah, there's rules and laws, instructions for righteousness, right? All of this stuff can kind of be summed up into, it's all just putting something in front of the Most High. It's idolatry. He doesn't want it. In consequence, that type of mindset can be seen as rebellion to him, because he commands us not to. It leads to punishment, right? Judgment. It's a sin. We shall not walk in sin. While on the contrary, we shall gain mercy. He shall give mercy to those who love him. Let's go to 1 John in closing. 1 John 2, verse 3. And by this we know that we love him with all our heart, all our mind, and all our soul, if we guard his commands. Little children, steer clear of idolatry. It comes in many forms. Carved wood and stone. Shalom. I'll be right back.